Hey YouTube, I'm back recording another video on converting an XNA project over to Android with MonoGame and MonoDevelop. And this time isn't going to be as much of a walkthrough as basically I got to make my own project, so I figured I'd record it and show some things that I didn't show last time. This video might be a little bit longer, uh, but hopefully it's going to take you through the whole process. Some things that I skipped before, some things that people left in the comments, and then at the end I'm actually going to run it on the Android emulator here so you can see that it's running. I've already got my XNA game started here, and I'll just show you real quick. It's just a side project that I'm working on for fun with a friend, but I wanted to see it on Android, so I'm going to take this game and the collision boxes you see in the red, blah blah blah, doesn't really matter. I'm going to take this game and convert it so I can use it on Android. Again, I'm using Visual Studio instead of the MonoDevelop. You have to have Visual Studio Pro or Ultimate to be able to do this with the Mono for Android. And I'll put links for Mono for Android, MonoGame, and any other links I need down in the description. But this is pretty much a stock XNA project right now. I'm going to go into my repository I have here that made already. I'm not going to show you that because you don't need to know how I make my own Git repositories. But I am going to show you how I add the submodules for MonoGame and the supporting libraries. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. I might do a couple things wrong. Get over it. Okay, so I use TortoiseKit for a lot, but I also use the command line for a lot. But for now, I'm going to try and use as much in TortoiseKit as I can. So I'm going to go to submodule.add, and it looks like I've already got my MonoGame Git link in here. I'll show you though. This is my MonoGame. If I ever make changes to it, I like to have my own fork. But you can just grab the Git from the Mono team. It's again, the link will be in the description. So that'll be fine. I'll just leave it blank. Can I leave it blank? I can't leave it blank. I'll call it MonoGame. And it's going to go ahead and grab everything that's in the MonoGame folder. After we get all the MonoGame stuff, we're going to have to do a submodule in it that grabs all of its submodules. But for now, I'm just going to kind of let this thing... Come on, start. I'll just let this thing do its thing over here. And we'll get going on our project. I like to put everything in one large solution and then enable disable projects as I need them. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new project. Let's see. Well, let's go back to this Git, see what it did. Okay, it grabbed everything. I'm going to go ahead and do a submodule update, and hopefully that does what I want it to. Okay, yeah, it's doing an update and an init, and it's grabbing all the samples and the third-party libraries, which include the network library that we're going to need soon-ish. But back to Visual Studio, and I'm going to go ahead and start a Mono for Android. This is assuming you already have Mono for Android installed. I'm sure there's other videos that show how to do that. I'm not going to show you. I'm going to grab an OpenGL for Android application. You can grab just a regular Android application and add the Open GL stuff, but this is just quicker. We're going to call it duck. Okay, I got pulled away, but I'm back. Okay, we were making an OpenGL project. I was going to call it Duck Revenge Android. Da, da, da. That looks good. That looks good. Okay. And that's immediately we can delete the GL view. Donate it. And we're going to copy over from another project of mine. No, I don't want that either. We're going to copy over just the activity file here. Oops. And we'll change it for Duck Revenge. And you basically can just use this file, but for all of your projects, but you'll have to change a couple things. The icon, the name, that kind of stuff. I'm going to save this, but this stuff's broken because I don't have any of the references to the MonoGame stuff. And since that's done, should be at least, let me check. I guess I can pull this over here. MonoGame. Okay, I've got the third-party stuff in here now, so I'm gonna go ahead and add add project, existing project. We're gonna first add MonoGame. We're gonna first add the Lidgren network library project. And I'm just gonna build that, and it should be fine. There shouldn't be any issue there. We're gonna add another project, existing project. And we're just gonna add the MonoGame stuff. Oh, I want to go to the framework and then add the Android project. Okay, yay. I use the develop version, the develop branch of MonoGame. You can use the develop 3D if you're going to start doing more 3D graphics. That's more the cutting edge stuff. Develop is usually pretty safe, but it is ahead of the 3.0 or whatever's current. Okay, so let's build MonoGame. Gonna build that. Build progress. Actually, this might fail. Oh, it didn't fail. How did it not fail? Oh, where is this? Show assembly details. Okay. It just grabbed the DLL for this, but I still think you need to compile the Lidgren network first, because this grabs it from that wherever that bin folder is. So we got those two done. Let's go back into our Android project and add a couple references. We'll go ahead and just add the two other projects as reference. You can reference the binaries if you want, but that's not how I add this stuff, so you're on your own. Let's go back back to this stuff. So we're in our activity in our Duck Revenge, and you can see that the other things they were found because of the Microsoft.xna.framework. But the game one wasn't found because that's not in our project yet. So we're going to add existing item, and I'm going to go back up and add the files that I need. I don't need duck. That's not something I'm using. And you only need to grab the stuff that you're using. You don't need any supplementary files. Game 1, duck, ground, player. You don't need the program.cs. I still don't think so. We'll find out. Tree. And then make sure you add as a link, so that if you change it in one project, it changes it for all of the projects. One source compiles for them all. Go add link. And the game one was resolved. Now we need to go to the assets folder and create a new folder called content. You can change this folder, but you're going to have to look up how to do that. For now, we're just going to leave it as content. And then I'm going to add some existing items, and we're not going to add the actual content. We're going to add what's called the XMB files. Those are pre-aligned, pre-compressed, pre-uncompressed. I don't know what they do, but that's part of the content pipeline in XNA. You don't have to use it, but I found that PNG images and other images look better if they're already XMB, and they're usually small file size. But we're going to grab these as link as well, so if you change any of those, they'll be recreated and grabbed every time you do this. Oh, and let's go ahead and change these to Android asset. Don't think you need to copy to output directory, but we'll find out when we run it. I think I've got everything going. Let's change this to landscape. I usually force landscape or portrait. If you want both, you're going to have to deal with throwing the bundle back and forth, because the activity does get recreated every time you rotate, which is a pain in the ass. So I usually just force one or the other, and if you're doing XNA, you can draw stuff sideways anyways. But this should be everything I need here. I go ahead and save that. I'm going to close this other thing because I don't need it. And let's build this and see what breaks. Build progress. Build succeeded. So I'm going to open up my Android emulator, and we're going to try and debug this. One thing I found, that if you want to debug your normal project, let's say you have this one selected, and you just hit the debug button, it's going to ask for a device. This is a bug in MonoGame, I think, or Mono for Android. But you just cancel out of this, and then it'll run your program normally. But if you just right click and debug, it won't ask you for that. To get away from having to do that, you can unload project, and then it won't ask you. If you're just debugging on the computer with XNA, you can also unload this project if you want. But we'll just set this as startup project, and then we'll run this, and we'll see what happens. I have no idea if this is going to run or not. Oh, look, my emulator's broken. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to pause this. I'll be right back. Okay, I just closed my emulator and started it again. Sometimes the emulator and Mono for Android get a bit quirky. But it did pop up here. I will have to wait for this emulator to start because it is slow. But I normally debug on real devices. But you guys on YouTube wanted to see it running in the emulator because you don't believe me or I don't know why you want to see it, but I'll show you. So come on, hurry up. Okay, so maybe I can unlock this. You know, I have a fast computer. At least I'd like to think so. New enough that there shouldn't be any reason this shouldn't run fast. But it's just dog slow. I don't know why. If any of you have tips or tricks on getting the emulator to run faster, let me know. But, okay. Looks like it's finally starting up. I'm going to, fortunately the system UI has stopped. Awesome. I'm going to let this start fully. I'll be right back. Okay, back again. It looks like it started completely, and I'm going to go ahead and debug this and see what happens. If this is the first time you're running on the emulator or any new device, if you're running in debug mode, it's going to install the Mono framework. That's what it runs on in the debug mode. When you do run in release mode, it no longer uses that, so that you can put it on other devices. But it's faster to deploy after the first time if you're running on the Mono framework, and that's the only way you can debug. So it's a necessary evil. You can see it's synchronizing assemblies, duck revenge. Let's see what breaks, huh? Hurry up. Da 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 da. Okay, you can see debug started. It should be running right now, and this probably means that something's going to break. Usually it takes longer when it's about to break or air out, but I guess not. Looks like it is running, albeit slowly, and I've got the back buffer set wrong, and a couple issues to sort out with the Android, but it is running, and it's a start. Does look like it's running pretty slow, but you can see the edge of my world should be right here where this red box stops here. This should be the world, and for some reason it doesn't want to, use the XNA preferred back buffer height. And I do have some drawing methods in there that are meant to scale it, and they do scale it well on the PC. And in fact, oh shoot, I shouldn't have closed the emulator. Don't close your emulator. Takes forever to start. But we'll run this, and I can show you that, it resizes fine to whatever aspect ratio I give it, and it doesn't seem to matter, but I'll have to fix that. But I can post this code if somebody wants it. Otherwise, just go ahead and pause the video. It is in HD, so you should be able to read it fine. This is the only code that should matter. Like I said, these content, they're Android asset, but they are not copy to output directory. If you want to enable dynamic content that you can load and change textures and stuff like that, you can add it to the output directory, and then load it differently in the content pipeline, but that's up to you. That's some more advanced stuff that you can figure out on your own. I hope that this helped with anybody's questions. Again, I use the developed version of MonoGame. I have my own branch, but it is up to date. I try to keep it up to date. If you don't want to worry about keeping it up to date, you can just grab the MonoGame Git repository. They do keep that up to date. Develop 3 is Develop 3D is the cutting edge, and I think 3.0 is the newest MonoGame version. But I hope this was informative. Thanks.